Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica, and we're going to discuss one of the very important remedy, even in acute as well as chronic practice, that is Kali Bichromicum. A wonderful remedy which has a very in-depth action, but pace is very acute. A remedy from syphilitic miasm, having direct action on the bony level, a remedy which has, even though it is of a syphilitic miasm, which has an acute pace. That's why we have to be utilized this remedy with almost understanding the concept behind the Kali Bichromicum. So we can use it as a acute as well as chronic in the patient. We can repeat it whenever it needs, and that's why we have to learn it from the different aspects. I will going to share one case. It was interesting. It was in 1995. A young girl, around 19 years old, in the month of April, she was brought to me having a very severe rheumatism. And it has started just 6 months back. Actually, it was started 1 year back. Actually, she had very severe dysentery. It was a bacillary dysentery for which she was admitted. She had mucoid, stringy, bloody stools. There was very severe tenesmus. The frothy stools were there. And she was admitted in one hospital for that because it was very acute attack. It was it was happened during the earlier summer, during hot weather. And she was treated with allopathy. At least she was admitted in that hospital for a week. And lot of antibiotics, then anti-amoebic were given during that time. The dysentery was controlled, but she becomes weak thereafter. And within a span of a month or two, she started getting joint pains. Earlier, it has involved only the small joints on one side, then it was shifted to elbow, then it was shifted to the shoulder, then again towards the lower extremity. It was just moving here and there. The wandering pains were there earlier. Wherever the joint becomes swollen, it shows typical signs of acute inflammation. It was completely red and stiff, and it used to crackle. It used to produce a crackling sound. That was very typical with that girl. And then it remained, and later on it goes on increasing. Then patient was referred to a rheumatologist. He diagnosed it as a rheumatoid arthritis, a shifting rheumatism. So first he has tried with the NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Earlier she has responded to it, but when she was feeling better, again she had an attack of dysentery. So again she has received medicines for the dysentery. Again she got the rheumatoid arthritis attack, and then rheumatism becomes fixed more. Then it started increasing. It started producing more stiffness, and every day it was shifting from one joint to another joint. Then they have started the giving steroids. With steroids for some time she felt better, but again she went into a dysentery phase. And this was going on. And it was not getting settled. Then some patients, one of my patients brought this girl to me. She was just 21 years. And again, she was brought to me in the month of April, having during a summer weather, having a rheumatism, shifting rheumatism, where there is a crackling, swelling, the pains, the stiffness which was marked and shifting. So wandering rheumatism, which is in so early phase, producing a crackling indicates a degenerative pathology. And it is not so chronic, it is an acute with of recent origin, suppressed with lot of anti-inflammatories and steroids. So I have decided it is a Kali Bichromicum because I got the history that there is a rheumatism alternating with dysentery. First important feature was rheumatism alternating with dysentery. Second important, dysentery was characteristic. It was bloody, it was mucoid, it was stringy, it was frothy, and it was during hot summer weather. And again, the rheumatism is aggravated in hot summer weather. The modality was very characteristic, that is of Kali Bichromicum. So I have started giving her Kali Bichromicum 1 m repeatedly 3 times a day. I asked her to meet me after a week. I told them that she might get a dysentery. If she gets it, let it be. Don't give any medicine. Let it appear. And same thing happened. After giving Kali Bichromicum, she started getting the stools. Her rheumatism settled. It was settled completely. She was out of danger regarding the rheumatism, but she started getting again mucoid stools. I asked them, let it continue. I stopped giving the Kali Bichromicum 1 m. I just waited for a week. Within a week, she used to get a diarrhea, specifically dysentery, early in the morning. It was morning dysentery. And the stools were not bloody, but they were quite mucoid, stringy, frothy. So I asked them to wait for a week, and she was brought after a week. She had a dysentery. So I reconsidered the case, but as her rheumatism was getting settled, I have considered little bit to wait for some time. After a week, I asked them to come. Now she was getting it once a day, but she used to get a tremendous tenesmus while passing the stool. So I have decided to reduce or decrease the dose of Kali Bichromicum now because it is indicating the same remedy, but at a different place. Earlier it was bony, now it is at GI tract. So I have given Kali Bichromicum 200 single dose only. Ask them to meet me after week. After giving Kali Bichromicum 200 one dose, next day the tennis must stop. And within a week, her stools becomes absolutely normal. So this was wonderful cure. Thereafter, she never had a dysentery, she never had a rheumatism. It was a very good case in my early practice, and which gave me a confidence to prescribe for alternating states. So rheumatism alternating with dysentery is a very important entity. The rheumatism which happens to be there in hot weather, dysentery happens to be there in hot weather. The discharges in dysentery, stringy, mucoid, frothy, typical of the Kali Bichromicum, and shifting rheumatism, wandering rheumatism, syphilitic rheumatism is characteristic of a Kali Bichromicum. So this is a wonderful remedy. We have to learn it from the Allen's notes. Let us open the Allen's notes and see what he says regarding the Kali Bichromicum. It is potassium bichromate, K2Cr2O7. See, the first line defines the constitution: fat, light-haired persons who suffer from catral, syphilitic or soric affection, but more strongly it is syphilitic. More strongly it is syphilitic, not soric. Fat, chubby, short-necked children disposed to croup and croupy affections. The if you go with the constitution, it looks like a calcareous. They looks like calcaria because they are chubby, they are light-haired persons, they are fat. So this is very, very typical looking like calcaria, short-necked. Croupy affections, that affections of the larynx, and that's why they used to suffer again and again from the discharges from the throat. Affections of mucous membranes, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, throat, the bronchi, the gastrointestinal and genitourinary tracts, where the characteristic is given in bold, and that one should remember forever regarding the Kali Bichromicum. Discharge of tough, stringy mucus which adheres to the parts and can be drawn into long strings. There are two remedies which are mentioned in bracket, hydrastis and lycinum. Yes, hydrastis is a wonderful remedy. More going towards the cancerous miasm. Syphilitic miasm, but cancerous miasm. Hydrastis, discharges are stringy, tough. Lysine, again, a remedy going towards the syphilitic miasm. So this is one more. If blood is stringy, it is crocus. Here it is the discharges are more strongly stringy in case of this specific remedy. Complaints occurring in hot weather, underline this. This is very important. Complaints occurring in hot weather. Liability to take cold in open air. Rheumatism alternating with gastric symptoms, one appearing in the fall and other in the spring. Rheumatism and dysentery alternate like abrotenum. Very important feature. This is the key of the Kali Bichromicum. Rheumatism alternating with gastric complaints, rheumatism alternating with dysentery. This is the keynote which one should not miss. Where you can enter into the case. This is very important. If the remedy is found to be syphilitic, think of this remedy first. If the discharges are stringent, then pains are very characteristic in Kali Bichromicum. They are given pains in small spots. Oxalic acid, another remedy. We have read just now a remedy that is Ignatia, also having the pain in small spots. Pains in small spots can be covered with point of the finger. Ignatia is given over there. Shift rapidly from one part to another part. This is shifting rheumatism. Very important of Kali Bichromicum. Kali sulf, lac caninum. Lac can, it is right to left, left to right. Again, this is shifting from one side to another side. Pulsatilla, yes, definitely. Pains appears and disappears suddenly. Very typical. That's why I have said that this is acute remedy, like belladonna, like ignatia, like macphus. Acute syphilitic remedy. You must think about that miasm also. It is not just acute miasm, it is acute syphilitic miasm. Neuralgia every day at the same hour. China sulf. Very important. Same time, neuralgia used to happen every day. Gastric complaints, bad effects of beer, loss of appetite, weight in the pit of stomachs, flatulence, gastric complaints aggravated soon after eating, gastric complaints with vomiting of ropey mucus and blood, gastric complaints with round ulcer of the stomach like gymnemna. Very important remedy for the gastric ulcers, duodenal ulcers, Kali Bichromicum. So that's why it is syphilitic. The ulcerations which are there, which indicate the miasm, it is a remedy from syphilitic miasm. Nose, pressive pain at the root of nose. Wonderful remedy in the first, in fact, first remedy one must think always with for the sinusitis. When there is a pain at the root of nose or pain at the glabella. This is very typical pain at the glabella or root of nose. Very characteristic of Kali Bichromicum with a nasal discharge. And discharges are stringy. There is heaviness in maxillary sinuses, frontal sinuses, and patient is unable to look down. Very typical with Kali Bichromicum. Nose, pressive pain at the root of nose, in forehead and root of nose is sticta. Uh, Discharge of plugs, clinkers, tough, ropey, green fluid mucus in clear masses and has a violent pain from occiput to forehead. The pains are from occiput to forehead if the discharge ceases. So if the discharge ceases, there is a pain. If discharge is there, the pains disappears. And this is very typical with sinusitis always. Sinusitis headache, sinusitis complaints always feels better by discharges. Ulcerations of the nasal septum with bloody discharge or large flakes of hard mucus. So it is a bony destruction which happens to be there. Nasal septums gets eroded, corroded, necrosed. So that's why again syphilitic miasm like alumina, sepia, ticurium marum verum, that these are the remedies which are mentioned over there. Diphtheria, pseudomembranous diphtheria, deposits form pearly, fibrinous, prone to extend downwards to the larynx and trachea. So it is going in downward direction. It starts from throat and it goes to the trachea and bronchi. So this is direction in downward, exactly opposite which you get in bromium. So reverse of bromium. Laccan has the same direction. It starts from the throat and it goes down. Edematous bladder-like appearance of the uvula. Uvula is elongated and bladder-like. This is very typical feature. Much swelling, but little redness. So there is swelling is there, but redness is not marked like a stocks. Cup. Cup is very characteristic. Violent rattling. It is also a remedy for rattling cup, like antimtat. But antimtat, it is gradually increasing cough. It takes long time. It used to produce a tough discharges over there, but very difficult to expectorate in antimtat, and patient becomes more and more dull in antimtat. Kali Bichromicum, that dullness is not there. Cough, violent rattling with gagging from viscid mucus in the throat. Cough is aggravated when undressing, like heparsal. This is again a remedy which gets affected from the drafts of air, like heparsulfuric. So while undressing, the complaints gets aggravated. That is a very important feature which is mentioned over there. Croup. Croup is hoarse, metallic with expectoration of a tough mucus or fibroelastic casts in the morning on awakening with dyspnea. Croup is ameliorated by lying down. See, very important features. Croup. Croup means these are discharges which happens to be there in the throat from the larynx and pharynx, and they are tough and stringy, difficult to come out, very adherent to the parts. They are aggravated in the morning on awakening with dyspnea and ameliorated by lying down. Worse when lying down is another where the modalities are opposite, aralia and lachesis. There is an aggravation over there. Deep eating ulcers in the fauces, often syphilitic, very, very characteristic. That's why the miasm is very typical. Even in fauces, the ulcers are there, they are syphilitic, deep seated. Headache. Headache with blurred vision, blindness precedes the attack like gelsemium and lac deploratum. This remedy, yes, it is very important remedy for sinusitis headache, but it is also a good remedy for migraine. So both the things, migraine as well as the sinusitis headache. Headache must lie down. Aversion to light and noise, cannot tolerate light and noise, typical features of migraine. Sight returns as the headache increases. So it first there is blindness and then again vision comes when the headache increases. The iris is there, the natrum mur is there, lac deploratum is there. All those remedies are having such typical headache. Prolapsus uteri, seemingly in hot weather. Again, see, complaints aggravated in hot weather, whatever it may be, whether they are related with GI tract, whether they are related with bony, they are related with the anus, they are related with the prolapsus of uteri, everywhere the hot weather aggravation is very characteristic. And last feature which I have mentioned is very important, sexual desire is absent in fleshy people. Loss of sexual power, very typical. In fact, desire is lost more strongly in Kali Bichromicum. Relationship, compare the bromium. Comparison already mentioned that bromium, it is the ascending curve, whereas in here it is descending. Hepar, draft of air aggravates, but Hepar is too chilly remedy. The Kali Bichromicum is hot remedy, but still gets affected with draft of air. Iodum in crappy affection, yes, iodum is too hot remedy, where iodum there is completely loss of flesh, whereas in Kali Bichromicum, fat, fair, chubby lady. After cantharis and carbolic acid has removed the scrapings of in the dysentery. So if cantharis fails, if carbolic acid fails or not able to remove the scrapings in dysentery, this is a wonderful remedy to be think of. After iodine in croup, when the horse cough with tough membrane, general weakness and coldness persist. After calcarea in acute and chronic nasal catarrh, antium tart follows well in catarrhal affections and skin diseases. So, if it never settles with Kali Bich, you must give the antium tart. Then complementary remedy is arsenic to this Kali Bichromicum. Arsenic is the complementary. Antidotes are again arsenic, lachesis, pulsatilla. 3 antidotes are mentioned for this. Action is 30 days. So it is a depicting remedy. Aggravation, heat of summer as well as hot weather. So generally a remedy, hot weather remedy. Amelioration skin symptoms are better in cold weather. That is reverse of alumina and petroleum. So in petroleum, alumina, you get cold weather aggressions. Typical winter eczema you can get in petroleum. This is exactly opposite in Kali Bichromicum. So this is very important remedy. One should not forget. So one must learn the aspects of Kali Bichromicum so that you can prescribe this remedy off and on in your practice. Basically, in sinusitis, it has a wonderful effect. So generally, whenever discharges you find it to be stringy, never think of any other remedy. First, think of Kali Bichromicum in sinusitis. And when pain is centered at the glabella, very typical pain in spots and pain in at the root of nose. Very typical features of sinusitis you can get over there. The heaviness because of blocked nostrils and tough stringy discharges. So this is a remedy for shifting rheumatism, syphilitic rheumatism, acute phase, very acute phase can be covered. Rheumatism alternating with dysentery, rheumatism alternating with gastric affection. Very important remedy one should not forget, and which you can repeat where exactly you want result. On the basis of that you can define the potency. If at a bony level, higher the potency. If it has GI tract level, you can go with low. But when it is related with the sinusitis, you must go for high 1 m 10 m. Should not give in low potency. Uh, there is one question: can we decrease the potency after giving high potency? You can. It depends upon situation where you have to use the remedy. If you would have given even serum, and if patient comes to you and indicates same remedy but futures at a very separate level, now he is presenting skin, you can go for serum to 6 also, 30 also. It is not a rule that you must go high every time. You can go from high to low, low to it depends upon the situation. So it depends upon demands of the case. That is very important thing which one must think. So that's all regarding the Kali Bichromicum. We have learned a wonderful remedy in our practice. So we have finished many remedies of third year syllabus. We are going ahead in a proper direction. We'll finish it with them as early as possible because we have to learn the group remedies also thereafter. So that's all for today. Thank you being there, and meet again tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, there will be no lecture on 1st of May. Okay, good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.